Another day, another AV update, another video. And Vanguards update 11.5 just dropped a few days ago, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on the update and what I think about everything that was added. The new units that were added were Vanguard Ichigo, who is obtainable from the Ichigo in the gem banner. A new Aizen, who is obtainable from the dungeon shop for I think 500 coins. Ulakora was a 5% drop from the dungeon, or you can buy him for 1,000 coins. And future Gohan and Trunks, who is obtainable from the new world line. The next thing I want to talk about is the new dungeon that was added. The dungeon plays exactly like the Broly dungeon. There's 30 ways, and after every completion, you have a chance to get one of a few items. You can get the Ichigo mask, Ulukoro Spear, and the Hogyoku. All of these are 10% drops from the dungeon. You can also get the Ulukoro unit, which is a 5% drop from the dungeon. I got it after like 3 tries, thanks AV. I got lucky again like last update with Makima. And you can also get tokens. The best method for getting these tokens is to have a full team of Rimu, which I think is unobtainable, so you might have to trade for her. And using the limit break modifier, you can put down like 6 of her. And if you have a full team, that's like what, 24 removes on the field? It's hella lucky. You get hella more rare cards like Harvest, which you doubles your currency, and you can potentially get over like 300, 400 per clear, which is insane. Now, the dungeon itself isn't really hard if you have a meta team like me. But if you're a new player or like your units kind of suck or outdated, it'll be hard. Yeah, and there's also the soul totems, which aren't really a problem because they only just speed up your enemies and they're easy to kill. But the problem is the enemies have to be near it in order for it to takedowns to count. So if it spawns far away, it's basically there for the rest of the game, and that could like mess up your whole run. Now, the problem I have with the dungeon is that each dungeon takes like 20 minutes to clear, man. That shit is so long. I don't want to sit. Now, me personally, I don't want to sit in a dungeon for 20 minutes just to not get like any drops, which is okay. But 20 minutes, man, that shit is so long. I wish they made it like a little shorter. Like maybe like 5 minutes. Maybe if it was like 15 minutes, I wouldn't be complaining. Because with the Broly dungeon, it was like all you needed to do was just kill Golden Frieza like 7 times. And even then, there was a modifier, I think, that allowed you to already have 2 Dragon Balls at the start. So you didn't really need to have to farm for that long. And it was easier. But, I mean, I'm glad that they did add like a non-banner way, like a Vanguard that isn't from the banner. I'm glad they added that, but I wish there was like a better way to obtain it. That's really all I'm saying. Next thing I want to talk about is Map Maker. Map Maker so far, I haven't played much of it really, cause it's still brand new. I'm gonna wait for a little more maps. I'll probably make a video on that, probably next video. But there is a reroll bug. Now, the map maker allows you to farm index rewards. Index rewards basically, you know what they are. It's like little like chances. Whenever you kill an enemy, you have a chance for it to appear in the index. And this is hard for bosses mainly because the bosses are like 3% drops and only like one of them spawns at most of the time per game. And it would take forever to farm those. But what Mad Maker does is you can spawn in a bunch of bosses, right? And if you kill them enough times, you'll get the index reward, right? And if you fill out like a index, you get like 20 rerolls. And combine that with all the maps, that's a free over like 200 rerolls. And I don't think this has been patched yet, so you should make sure to go abuse this before it gets patched for free 200 rerolls. And you can also farm takedowns there too. It's a great takedown farm also. Next thing I'll talk about is Ichigo Evolve Quest. Now, the first thing you need to do, if you haven't already done this, is get Ichigo from the banner. It's 1,000 Year Blood War Ichigo, and then you have to evolve it. It's a Horn of Salvation Ichigo. It isn't hard at all, just a few legend stages, that's it, and stones, of course. Next, you gotta grind the dungeon for the mask, which just takes a long time, and it isn't hard if you have a meta team, or you have like a team full of Remus, like I said. After that, you gotta kill the soul totems 20 times. For that, just restart every 2 waves. Because I think one spawns wave 2 or 3. Just restart and do that like 20 times. And yeah. Next, you gotta get an Aizen, the new Aizen. And you gotta evolve it and then sacrifice it to Ichigo. That part's annoying because that takes a lot of stones. And you need a lot of stones for Ichigo too. Yeah. Next, you gotta go into the Bankai Training Cave, which is the click on the mask, and then you'll get teleported to the map. And you gotta every 5 waves, you gotta find the right sword to pull out. You'll know there's an audio cue, like an audio cue that plays when you're like standing on top of the right sword. So once you pull that sword, you get teleported out, and then you gotta sacrifice 30 mythic or higher units, which isn't hard. But the only problem is you can only select one mythic unit at a time, and I had to do this 30 times, and this was the most boring 3 minutes I've ever had. But it's not hard because you either have a bunch of mythic units from when you were summoning for Alucard, or you can always just go grind the winter event because that's still here, I think, and just get a lot of winter banner units and sacrifice those, or farm Doflamingo raids, but like that's boring too. And then once you have Ichigo evolve, there's one more quest you gotta do, and that's go into the game and use Ichigo's manual ability, set to 3 stocks, use the ability, and you get his Memoria, title, and banner for free. Not a bad quest, not hard, just it takes a while for the dungeons. Now I forgot to mention one thing, but one thing about this update is at least 3 of the 4 units rely on stocks, which is basically base health. If you lose like a certain amount of stocks, I think it's all 3, something will happen to your units. Like Ichigo, if you have him maxed out and you lose all 3 lives, he just upgrades himself and he gets the hollow form. Same with Gohan, future Gohan and Trunks. If you lose all 3 stocks, he upgrades himself. And I think Aizen, I think he has to be upgraded. But if you lose all 3 stocks, he has like his full Hogyoku form. I thought that was pretty cool. Now my overall thoughts on this update. This is very small, but everything isn't really hard to obtain. It just takes a long time and hella stones. I appreciate that this time it's not a banner Vanguard like the last few, and it's fun to do these little quests for them. But it could make the quests more interesting or have more depth to them. And I hope they do less Vanguard banners in the future, because that shit's just annoying. It takes a long time. Map Maker is pretty cool so far, but the only maps I played were index farms. Next video I make will probably be a map maker vid where I play non-index farm maps and try to see the creations the community makes. One more thing I forgot to mention, but besides the fact that Ichigo is probably the best unit in the game, you can if you evolve Aizen and Ulukora, you can get their memorials for completely free. Of course, you still have to evolve them, but you can still get the memorials free. That is saves so much time. It saves so much coins you don't have to buy in the shop. I love that they have this. Thank you, AV. Overall, not a bad update. It's very easy. Up next update is Naruto the GOAT, the best anime ever, of course. Or it's a good anime. Notice this Chainsaw Man, but that ending was fucking dog shit. But yeah, like, subscribe. See you next video. Thanks for watching.